I'm Lina Johansson from Mimbre. I am co-artistic director of Look Mom No Hands together with Daryl Beaton. And working with Grey Eye Roulettes together with Mimbre Youth was fantastic. And it was really nice exploring the different possibilities with the acrobatics together, basically using their input into ideas for this show.
My name is Daryl Beaton and I'm co-director on Look Mom No Hands. The young people's creative input's been really important because they've really helped shape this story. And it's a story about those small risks you have to take in order to become independent that ultimately leads you to that moment of where you don't have to rely on others.
I'm Rosie Roberts and I'm a performer for Mimbre. It's been a fascinating insight into a really different way of working physically.
I'm Maya. I am a performer on Look Mum No Hands. I am new to using a wheelchair, so I'm now in an exciting period where I'm exploring the potentials of everything I could do out of the chair and how I can now make that work in the chair, and if I'm honest, make it better than how I could do it out of the chair because I have wheels.
If you could just get a bit of momentum so the chair can just travel
and see if you can just do it. So it's still moving as you're up. You might reverse it.
It's a great learning curve together with Daryl of exploring how to make it as accessible as possible and using the creativity which we try to make part of our work all the time, in terms of not saying it has to be this way or it has to be that way, but it's all about which way feels right for you, which way works for you, how can we approach it, how can we make it different. That's been part of Mimbre's ethos from the start, but this is just developing it further.
What's been really interesting is working with the mobility aids, and that has been really new, and especially when you're working physically. It's really interesting because it's sort of redefining the idea of it as a restriction, because it's not necessarily a restriction, it's just a different thing to work within the space.
Because I'm so new to using a wheelchair, it's having the knowledge myself but also of other people of how to use a chair to its best capabilities.
One significant thing I've learned is about using language in the most inclusive way possible. So just a really obvious example is if you tell a group of kids to run around the room, whereas if you instruct them to move around the room, then everyone can do that.
During this process, we've worked with a mixed group of disabled and non-disabled young people and using acrobatics and acrobalance as a way of really exploring what risk means to them.
It's been really important to the research and development of the project to hear what the young people care about and what issues feels relevant to them.
Just because it's all very well for a bunch of adults to think about and contemplate what risk and independence are, but this show is really about children and for children. It's just so important to have their voices from the very beginning, informing the process. And just hearing them speak about their ideas of risk and independence is really illuminating and amazing, and then we take those things pretty much directly into the rehearsal room.
For me, this show is really important because the themes of risk and independence is important to every young person. Yet, if you're a disabled young person, then you're perceived to be weak or need looking after or being wrapped up in cotton wool. So therefore, your journey to independence can be a lot longer than those of your non-disabled peers.
This process has taught me so much. I have never been blessed to work with acrobats before. Often people are really scared now and wary of how to lift or how to do contact work because of a wheelchair. And Lena in particular has been amazing with the no fear rule. Anything that's possible that they do standing, we're finding a way to do it totally in the chair, and we kind of worry about the chair after. There's lifts that we were doing and I'd look at that and go, oh, Rosie, no, that's totally risky. And Lena's going, no, it's totally fine. And then Rosie sits on my back upside down and she's like, yeah, it's totally fine. And I'm going, gosh, it is totally fine. The world is not accessible and the world is not inclusive, and they're two things that should be a given, not an extra special privilege.